All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a really cool question today. How in the world are we teaching machines to understand the massive, messy, super emotional world of human opinions online? It's a huge challenge, so let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, have you ever just stopped and thought about that? Every single second, there are millions of us out there firing off our hot takes on, well, everything, from the latest movie to a new piece of software. What does all that chatter actually mean?
Because, let's be honest, the way we talk online is anything but simple. It is a total mess of inside jokes, sarcasm that drips off the screen, new slang that pops up overnight, and of course, an entire language made of emojis. How could a computer possibly figure that out? Well, that's exactly what sentiment analysis is trying to do.
So let's put a real name on this technology and break down what it is.
Okay, at its heart, sentiment analysis is pretty straightforward. It's all about teaching a computer to read something, a tweet, a review, whatever, and figure out the feeling behind it. Is this person happy? Are they angry? Or are they just kind of neutral? That's the core goal.
So, if you're going to test out this kind of tech, where do you go? You go to the wildest, most unpredictable place on the internet, social media.
And here we have the perfect example of why this is so tricky. You and I, we read this, and we instantly hear the sarcasm, right? The words great and excited are technically positive, but the actual feeling is completely negative. This is a classic problem for an AI.
And it goes way beyond just sarcasm. Researchers like Nayak and Victor Rajan have pointed out all these other hurdles. You've got slang, you've got emojis, which have their own meanings, and you've got people mixing different languages in the same sentence. The old way of just counting good words and bad words, it just completely falls apart here.
So how does modern AI handle this chaos? Well, it's a whole new ballgame, and this is basically how it works. It's a multi-step process. First, the AI grabs the tweet. Then it does a cleanup job, what we call normalizing the text and emojis. And then comes the magic. It uses these super powerful models like BERT to analyze everything, understanding the context of the whole sentence. Only after all that does it give you that final verdict, positive, negative, or neutral.
Okay, so that's social media. Now let's switch gears and look at how this same idea is changing something else we all deal with: movie reviews.
You know exactly what this is like. You're trying to decide what to watch, you see a 3-star rating, and you have no idea what that actually means. Was it just fine? Or was the acting incredible, but the story was a complete disaster? That single number just doesn't tell you the whole story.
And this is where that huge leap in AI, something researchers like Maram and their team have studied, really shines. The old school AI was simple. It saw the word great and just thought, okay, positive. The new deep learning models, they're context aware. They get that a sentence like, the acting was great, but the plot was terrible, is a mixed bag full of nuance. That means we get way more reliable and trustworthy recommendations.
To make things even better, these modern systems are really smart about where they get their info. Research from folks like DWAR shows that instead of just looking at one site, they pull in reviews from all over the place. IMDb, Twitter, Rotten Tomatoes, you name it. That way they build a much bigger, more accurate picture of what people really think.
So, we've seen a couple of great examples of this in action. Now let's kind of pull back the curtain and look at the actual engine making all of this run. So across all the different applications, the process pretty much boils down to these 3 key stages. First up is pre-processing. Think of this as the cleanup crew. It takes all that messy internet language and gets it ready for the AI. Next is classification. This is the main event, where the heavy-duty models like BERT read the text for context and actually make the call on the sentiment. And finally, you have evaluation. This is where we grade the AI's homework, using metrics like accuracy to see just how well it's actually understanding us.
Okay, so this technology is obviously incredibly powerful, but, and this is a really big but, we have to talk about the flip side, because with this kind of power comes some serious responsibility. This is the question that should really make us pause. What are the real-world consequences when a machine misreads human emotion? It's one thing if it gets a movie review wrong, but it's another thing entirely when the stakes are higher.
Researcher Mohud really lays out the ethical minefield here. Think about it. If an AI learns from data across the internet, it's also going to learn all of our existing biases and could just make them worse. When companies analyze our personal feedback, where do we draw the line on privacy? And imagine being a student or an employee who gets unfairly flagged by an algorithm because it misinterpreted your tone. A lot of these systems are black boxes, so we don't even know why they make the decisions they do. It's a very real tightrope we're walking.
So where does all this leave us?
What does our future look like when we're living alongside machines that can, in a way, read our minds? At the end of the day, it's clear that sentiment analysis is a powerful, dual-edged sword. Yes, it can give us incredible insights, helping companies build better products, or helping us pick a good movie. But at the same time, it forces us to confront some really tough questions about what's fair, what's private, and who's in control.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. The tech is moving forward at lightning speed. But while we're so focused on teaching AI how to read our emotions, the much bigger challenge might be teaching it, and maybe ourselves, how to use that power responsibly.